What's going on, everybody? Matt coming back at you. Back behind me, I'm here doing a water change. I'm always multitasking, always on the go. Man, wasn't that cool to see my male stingray take down one of the feeder fish like that in slow motion? I thought you guys would enjoy that. That's one of my favorite videos that I've made so far as a stingray keeper. But in today's video, we're going to learn how to take care of these amazing stingrays. So if you've been thinking about wanting to keep one, check this video out. It's going to be just for you. So the first thing I want to talk about is the tank size. Bigger is better when it comes to stingrays. You need a lot of water volume, and I'll go in later why you need a lot of water volume. But you need a tank that not only is long, but also wide. How tall your tank is doesn't really matter as much as the bottom footprint, because I stay on the bottom for the most part. So, you know, as a pup size, you're looking ideally at like a 6x2. And then once they get up to 10 to 12 inches, you want to upgrade. 6x3 for some of the smaller stingrays you can get away with, but you know, you really want to go with like an 8x4 or bigger. 8x4 would be minimum for like a pair of stingrays. That's it. Just two stingrays. 8x4 when they get to be adults is about what you want. But as far as pups go, you know, you can get away with a 6x2 for a little bit. Also want to run a big sump, and I'll get into that too as well for more water volume. But tank size, that's what you're going to want to be looking at. You do not want to cram these guys into a 75, 90, 125. So really think about the tank size. They will not go into a 75 or a 90. I see that happen too often, and the stingrays end up dying. And it's just because there's not enough water volume. That's the biggest thing. Also, going on to water quality. That is a very important component when you're messing with stingrays. That's why I tell you guys a lot of water volume, because they produce a lot of ammonia. They have glands that release a lot of ammonia because they used to be in salt water, and over evolution of millions of years, they've converted to freshwater. So that is one thing that they do produce more ammonia than any fish in the hobby. So you got to keep the water clean, and any time that you have a fish that produces a lot of ammonia, that's going to equate to more nitrates. So you're going to look into big water changes. You know, like myself, I do a 60 to 75% water change once a week to change that out. Also, my sump that I have is 1/3 my display, which is what I recommend to have more water volume to dilute the ammonia and keep your nitrates down at a safe level, because the smaller the tank, the less water volume, the more your water chemistry is going to get screwed up. And that's where you see a lot of these guys with these small tanks having issues with water quality and their stingray health, and then eventually their stingray dies. Big tanks, bigger the better. Keep that in mind. And then with pH, don't go chasing a pH number. You'll have better luck using the pH that's coming out of your tap and keeping it at a consistent level, because when you try to match pHs and buffer your water, you're going to get into pH crashes, which can overall just wipe out your tank. It's never recommended. I always recommend to keep your pH stable, like me. Mine's 8.2. That's a pretty high pH, but I keep it stable. I've been doing this for years, no problems. So continue doing the pH that's coming out of your tap, and you will have no problems. Also, with the nitrates, make sure you keep them under 40 parts per million or less. I ideally, with the way that I'm doing my water changes, I can get them down around the 20 parts per million range consistently weekly with my water changes. So you want to monitor your nitrates when you get a stingray as well, and see what you're doing and see what you got to control and change to keep it consistent. For their filtration, no canisters. I don't like using canister filters on a stingray tank because you need a lot of water volume, and that's one thing that they lack. Now, they do carry a lot of biomedia in some of the canisters, but just the volume of water, that's why I don't go with them. I prefer a big sump, because that's going to help create more water volume than just the tank itself to help dilute the ammonia that the stingrays produce. So keep that in mind. And sumps are unlimited on what you can do. You can do wet dry filter like what I'm doing with just pot scrubbies. Works great. Lava rock as well. Or you can do a more expensive, and I might think about getting into this is a fluidized bed of like K1, K2, K3. Difference between them is they get bigger and bigger as the number goes up. But yeah, K1, K2, K3 for fluidized as well. You can do all kinds of things for the sump, but I don't prefer canisters. That's just my opinion. I don't really think that suits a Stingray tank very well. All right, and another topic would be substrate. To have substrate or not to have substrate. Stingray owners will debate this all day long. A lot of people will say bare bottom to keep the water quality up. Also, easier to keep clean as well, because Stingrays can be messy. I myself like a light sand, half bare bottom. You guys have seen the videos where they have enough to play in the sand, but there's not enough sand to mess the water chemistry up and to get food to get stuck. No problems with that. Also too, with Stingrays, I don't know if you can see this here. That's sharp. That's a barb off my male Stingray right here. These guys could get caught in the sand. They could poke you if you try to sift the sand with your hand, or they could poke another fish or the Stingray itself and cause some harm. Now this one here is all white, so the skin's off of it, so it's no longer venomous. But if this had the skin on it, this would burn a lot if this were to poke you, and even the ray itself. So that's something to keep in mind. But one thing I will tell you with the substrate is no gravel and no sharp substrate either, like that black diamond blasting sand. That's a no-no, because that will hurt the underside of the ray. They're very sensitive, and you don't want to get that irritated, or that could cause a whole other problem with infections and water quality and everything else. So stick to pool filter sand. That's what I use myself. It's cheap. You can get 50-pound bag for $5 at Home Depot, or any place like that carries sand. So very inexpensive, and like I said, not too much sand. But you can also go bare bottom. I just don't like the look of it, and I feel like the Stingrays act more natural with a little bit of sand in the aquarium as well. Tank mates, you got to keep in mind Stingrays get big. These fish, you can have tank mates, but it's your own risk. I've lost some fish because the Stingrays chewed them up, and I've got rid of some fish because they didn't get along with the Stingrays and would peck at them. So it's kind of up to you, but the biggest thing, it's going to be trial and error, but the biggest thing with tank mates is make sure they don't fit the Stingray's mouth, and make sure they get, we're talking 1.5 feet, 2 foot big in a Stingray tank, because if not, they're going to become a snack one day. And as far as Stingray foods go, what I feed my rays now is the sinking carnivore pellets from Hikari, if I'm saying it right. But they love these. And I feed a variety on their diet. Variety is key. And then I do, just shrimp. Got this from Walmart, like $5 for a bag. I let it thaw out, and I mix Vitachem with it. That way they get a lot of the nutrition that they're missing out on. And with the pellets as well, they get a lot of nutrition as well. So they're getting a lot of good staple foods out of this mixture here. But, a lot of times when you do get your first Stingray, they're not eating prepared foods or pellets yet. So the biggest thing I can tell you is what you can feed them to get them to survive is black worms. But what I personally use is chopped up earthworms. I know it's gross, it makes a mess, but they go crazy for them. But what I'll do to get them off of live food is I will give them 1 worm a day, and then offer my pellets and shrimp every other day. That way they're still eating the worm, and they're healthy, and they're getting taken care of, but they're still hungry. And you'll notice that they'll start to mouth on these, chew them up a little bit, spit them out. That's a good sign, because I'll tell you, in a few days later, they will be probably eating them. But that's how I wean my Stingrays off alive and get them onto prepared foods, and a variety diet is key with everything. So hopefully that'll help you out. But earthworms are something you can give your Stingrays that they should take almost immediately. That's like crack for them. They love it. So hopefully that'll help you out when it comes to food. And another thing I want to teach you guys is how you can identify a male versus a female. So when you go to buy one, you can actually tell what you're going to get into, because I will tell you, if you want a stingray that stays a little smaller, you're going to want to go with a male. They typically don't get as big as the females. Females get a lot bigger. So if you want a stingray that stays a little smaller, go with the male. And I'm going to show you in the next picture exactly what to look for. So here's a picture that I think will help you guys out quite a bit. On the left is the male, on the right is the female. On the left, the male has claspers. You can see that there's 2 on each side of the tail there. That's like his penis. That's what you want to look for a male. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is, before you buy a stingray, make sure you physically see it eat. Visually, make sure it's eating, because if it's not, that's a no-go. That is a bad sign of things to come that will end up with nothing good for you. So make sure your stingray is eating. Also, you want to make sure that you can't see like its ribs and its its skeleton a little bit, and especially towards the back, towards the tail on the disc, right above the tail. If you see hip bones poking out through the body, don't get it. You want to make sure this looks fat and healthy. And my biggest thing for you guys is to buy from a breeder that's from your area. That way you know that you're getting a good quality. Because when you start getting into importing or buying from a fish store, that opens up a whole can of worms for different medications you need to use, and also trying to even get the stingray to eat. So keep that in mind when you go to purchase. Well guys, that's it for this week's video, and I hope that this really helped out the people that are looking to get a stingray. I hope that this will help guide you in the right direction, make the right choice. That's what it's all about, having a very good first experience, because it can go the other way very quickly as well. So hopefully this will help teach you and guide you. Also, if you like what you see and you're interested in the hobby, why don't you go ahead and subscribe down to my channel and hit that notification bell. That way there you can get the latest updates on what I come out with, because there's going to be more care guides than just the stingrays. As you can tell, I have a lot of monster fish back behind me, and we can go over care guides on all of them eventually. Plus next week we are having another, it's been a month already, but we're having another measuring video. And you won't believe how big this guy back here has got, Brutus. I bet you he's put on a few more inches, so I'm very anxious to see how big he is. So that'll be a lot of fun. Ben from Simple Fish Life, he beat me to 150 subscribers, so I'm a man of my word, and we'll be taking a pie to the face, so stay tuned, because it's about to come. Alright, well Ben, you got your wish, and this guy got his wish too. He just found out he gets to pie daddy in the face. Yay! How do you feel about that? Yeah, so you guys are both going to enjoy this. Just don't get your cast in it, okay? He's doing good too. He gets this off next week, so he'll be in top shape. So, here's the pie. Yummy, right? It's so cold too. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. What do you think, bud?
It smells like vanilla.
Okay, now don't just bash this in my face. You want to just push it in, okay?
Okay.
I don't need any stitches. We don't need to go to the emergency room. Alright, Ben, well, it was fun. I appreciate the opportunity for the challenge. Hopefully many more challenges to come that I can win this time. But here you guys go. Go, Lucas. Alright, there we go. Okay, I can see out of one eye, so we're good. As you can tell, I put a big dent into the pie there. You can see my whole face line there.
Well,
But we got paper towels. We can take good care of this.
it doesn't even look like your face.
Ben, I'm going to get you next time. Can't wait for the next competition. Oh my goodness. I'm going to be blowing whipped cream out of my nose for the rest of the night. I look like Santa Claus. Look at this.
Santa Claus.
So, we will see you guys. It was a lot of fun. Peace.